Yeah.
They do have a suspect now on this Esperanza fire.
Actually, about 3 of them. 2 of them, they're so-called persons of interest, and one that they've actually arrested for setting fires back in June. I don't think they've connected anybody up with the Esperanza itself yet, where they've got a smoking gun, but they said they had over 50 deputies from Riverside County out combing the area, and interestingly enough, they were collecting DNA evidence from the people they interviewed.
Oh.
So that tells me that there's something there that they haven't really let out to the news as to why are they collecting DNA evidence.
These last fires you mentioned, a lot of these little fires that are set, we don't know about.
No. Nope, because they never get beyond just a small one. But they said this one for the Esperanza was set very well. It was very well sited for the conditions because it was down at the base of a ramp, basically, where once the wind caught it, it would go right up there into the hills. And they said,
sounds like somebody knew what they were doing.
Yeah, this was either an arsonist that had a lot of experience or a firefighter or a fire aficionado that knew what they were doing. Yeah.
That's
These
scary.
firefighters that died, are their families going to have benefits?
Yes.
I noticed that they do have a voluntary contribution mechanism going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a P.O. box out in Riverside County, which is for the people out there. In fact, I think I probably have that with me. It is the Esperanza Firefighters Assistance Fund, which is at P.O. Box 1645, Riverside, California, 92502. And it's actually for like the supervisors out there. They set this up at this P.O. 1645.
Keep that out and we'll repeat that again.
Okay.
Our viewers might not have a pencil and paper handy.
Okay.
But I do think it would be wonderful to contribute.
Yeah. Yep.
That's sad. They were all young too, I believe.
Yeah. I think the oldest was probably early 40s.
Yeah. What a shame.
Yeah, and there is a program that the federal government administers through Department of Justice called Public Safety Officer Benefit, or PSOB, which in the case of a firefighter who's killed in the line of duty, the federal government pays out $275,000 to the family. So even aside from all the other costs of this fire, that right there is almost $1.5 million that they're going to be paying out just for the 5 firefighters who died. Compare it to $26,000 an hour for the DC-10 to operate.
Okay. So how do we get a better handle on this?
Well, better handle would be by lobbying your congressmen, your senators, to get this plane a seasonal contract.
DC-10?
The DC-10, yeah. Because right now they're fighting for their life to get a $5 million seasonal contract, which sounds like a lot of money, but how much do a couple of houses cost in this area?
Right, of course.
So it's something that would have the DC-10 available year-round so that we wouldn't have another Esperanza fire incident where the guys are at the weddings and so forth when they should be flying the fire. They would have loved to have been here. They sat here during the day fire waiting for a call. There was actually, they actually had a guy that lived in Lockwood Valley down by the day fire by Ojai come up there with a checkbook in hand. He says, I will pay you $80,000 to get that plane in the air. But they couldn't do it because it was on U.S. forest land. Forest managers didn't ask for it, so they said, nope, sorry. So basically they sent the guys home because they said...
And the consequences of that?
Well, it was a $74 million fire just for the suppression costs. And they, fire managers I talked to said that the DC-10 could have put that fire out within the first 3 days of the fire. But they never got the call to use it. It was on federal land and the federal government never called for it.
Do you have some statistics on the DC-10? You know, what is their carry capacity?
12,000 gallons.
12,000 gallons, and that spreads over how much land?
Yeah, that one right there. It can lay down.
And what is this one?
That's the 747 supertanker. So this is the 20,000 gallon variant of a supertanker.
Amazing.
Yeah. And these planes can lay down a half mile or so long retardant of over 100 feet wide, which is a pretty large fire break for most fires.
About a football field.
Yeah.
And how do they get their water?
They have to land at an air base. In the case of the DC-10 up at Victorville at the old George Air Force Base, which is now Southern California Logistics Airport. And in the case of the 747, it would probably be what used to be Norton Air Force Base, which is San Bernardino International Airport right now. And so they would be based out of there. And of course, these are jet aircraft, so they can travel at airliner speeds to get from point to point. So they could turn around and be back within an hour to a fire in the Southern California area.
That would make a great impact on the fire.
Oh yeah. These DC-10 finally got into the fire out in Esperanza. The first day out, they did 6 drops. Those 6 drops, fire managers said, took containment of the fire from 6% contained to 65% contained, just with that one aircraft.
In how many days?
Just in 6 drops,
in
that
6
one day.
drops,
Yeah,
one
so
day.
they dropped, went back, reloaded, came back, dropped again 6 times. Yeah.
How that is so much more efficient,
Yep.
so much less risky.
Yeah.
Do they have problems with the updrafts, the downdrafts kind of thing? There are things with helicopters you have to be careful of.
They were worried about going down into the canyons because, of course, they hadn't been down into canyons that much, but they had an OV-10 Bronco, which is a CDF spotter aircraft, if you will. It goes out and it leads the planes in. It's what they call an air attack aircraft that leads in the bigger air tankers to check the air currents and to make sure that it's safe and to lead them into the area. And the DC-10 followed one of these in. So you've got this little plane with a airliner behind it that they're going down into these canyons. And they went right down into the canyons. They dropped on it, no problem.
I remember your last visit with us, you mentioned something they could see through the smoke.
Yeah, it's forward-looking.
Is that these planes we're talking about?
The OV-10s can be equipped with those. Helicopters can be equipped with those.
Craft, they say, because of the thick smoke or the air conditions, you know, they can't fly.
Right. In fact, there was a fire. Yeah, there was a fire up here in 2002 where they were going to hit it with everything they had one day, and the smoke was too thick. There was an inversional air. They grounded all the aircraft. They couldn't take anybody in. That's why the aircraft in my books are equipped with systems so they can see through this, because it's really the only way to do it. And the other thing is they can fly at night, which typically firefighting aircraft now are grounded a half an hour before sunset and a half an hour after sunrise.
So it's sort of like night vision kind of thing that they use in warfare, the binoculars and stuff.
Richard, do you have his card you could show on the screen for our viewers if they want to purchase the book or get in contact with him?
And 50% of the net profits go to firefighter charities. In fact, I sent a check off to the Esperanza Fund the other day.
Today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, I encourage everyone to do that. You just don't know when a fire is going to get you.
No. What are some of the things, I mean, we do have brush clearing techniques. County Fire comes out and inspects these places. Any hints to avoid the fires? Any containment?
Actually, you know, one of the best things is to have a voluntary arson watch. Laguna Beach, Laguna Canyon had some bad fires over the years, back in the 90s, the 80s, and they put together an arson watch where citizens go out there. They've got a car that has an arson watch, one of those magnetic signs you can stick on the side of the car. They wear a fairly gaudy looking, almost like a construction uniform, so people can see them. They have arson watch patches and everything on. And Topanga Canyon, where this wildfire research network is that I work with, they also have an arson watch. And these areas that have the arson watch with volunteers out keeping an eye on things, driving around, checking the neighborhoods, they haven't really had serious fires start in those areas. So if you could put together arson watches in the brush areas, it would be a pretty good alternative. And there are people that are self-employed or that they're retired that have time on their hands that they could go out and do this.
How would they go about doing that? You contact your fire department?
Yeah, you could check with the fire department.
Say you would like to start a fire watch?
Typically they'll work them through like a sheriff's department or a police department or something like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we do neighborhood watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's neighborhood watch for fires.
Yeah.
And for arsonists, basically. Because if you can eliminate the human factor from this, of people deliberately setting the fires, in this area we don't have much in the way of dry lightning fires and things of this sort. So as a result, if you can get the human element out of it, if people are afraid they might be spotted setting a fire,
they may find another area.
Yep.
Esperanza Fire, the toll, do you know? I haven't been able to get online to check anything out. My Verizon's out.
We're not going to Verizon tonight, folks.
Okay.
She's not happy with Verizon.
No.
We have property loss.
Yeah. There were about 4, it keeps changing as they find new property that's burned, but I've heard about 20 structures and about 34 homes that were destroyed, which doesn't sound that bad, but you consider this is somebody's residence as